Hi, my name is Jody Bjornstead, and this is actually a recreation of the presentation that I gave for my master's thesis. My parents were not able to attend, and I know that they want to hear what I've done. So here it goes. A few years ago, I was thinking about solving problems. And as an advocate for victims of intimate partner violence, I was thinking about how to solve that problem in particular. When I began my career in the 1980s, the vision for ending IPV was to provide shelters, change laws, make arrests, develop advocacy, and develop perpetrator treatment programs. Well, after 30 years, we've done all that. And yet we have more police calls now than ever, even if you adjust for population and awareness. And we have not decreased lethality either. The number of people killed in Minnesota last year by their intimate partner was the same as in 1994. One night I was thinking about Einstein's, or maybe Ben Franklin's, definition of insanity. And it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I really felt that it applied. We keep trying to solve the problem of intimate partner violence through social work, psychology, and criminology. So I tried to think of fields that were as far from that as possible. And I came up with architecture, biology, and music. I wondered how an architect, a biologist, or a musician might approach the problem of IPV. Then I realized we already talk about intimate partner violence in these terms. We say things like, we need harmony in relationships. We must inoculate our children against IPV. We need to build bridges of understanding and strong family foundations. IPV is a cancer. We need to build self-esteem. IPV is a crack in the family structure. Or IPV is an epidemic. In fact, this month at the Earl Brown Center on the University of Minnesota campus is a conference entitled Strong Foundations Institute on Building Healthy Development in Children 0 to 3. Listening to these statements revealed metaphors used to discuss IPV. So I went on this thesis journey to see what happened when we used these metaphors as bridges to cross from the fields traditionally associated with intimate partner violence to two of the fields connected to these metaphors, architecture and biology. Lakoff and Johnson's work on metaphor says that our conceptual systems on which we think and act are fundamentally metaphorical. From this I learned that metaphor can reveal what we think about things. The process of metaphor is to take attributes or entailments from one thing, Lakoff and Johnson call this the target, and apply them to the main thing we're trying to understand, which is, So the process of metaphor is to take the attributes or entailments from one thing we call the source and apply them to the main thing we're trying to understand, which is the target. So by saying my dog is a little princess, we apply attributes of little princess, the source, to my dog, the target, and now you have a clearer picture of my dog. There is still a lot you don't know about my dog. My dog is not literally a little princess, but saying she is a little princess or he is a little princess gives you a new understanding. In the same way, when we say IPV is cancer, we are applying aspects of the source cancer to the target intimate partner violence. We are not saying IPV is literally cancer. We change this from IPV is cancer to IPV as cancer, and we look at what we learn when we look through a different lens. I argue that we can mine these metaphors for new knowledge about the target, in the case of intimate partner violence, and that, in this case, intimate partner violence, and that when we mine these disparate fields, we can push beyond the conventional boundaries to clarify definitions, expose assumptions, develop techniques, and discover new solutions. So I use these statements, these metaphors about intimate partner violence, as bridges to explore IPV as architecture and biology. Crossing these bridges, I made some interesting discoveries. When we discuss IPV as a virus, we discuss the symbiotic relationship between virus and host. If we discuss the possible symbiotic relationship between perpetrator and victim in the context of intimate partner violence, this is called victim blaming, and it is taboo. By exploring virus and host, we can transcend the politically correct morass and discuss the relationship of virus and host in a way that may illuminate new questions about or solutions to the relationship between perpetrator and victim. You may have heard a metaphor breaks down. I was expecting this to be the big hurdle in my project. How do we determine when the metaphor fails, when it is no longer valid or useful? How do we determine, what I discovered at this point is that it is at this point, when we say it breaks down, that it is of the greatest usefulness. When we say that's not right, IPV is not really an epidemic, for example, that we can be far more clear about the definition of intimate partner violence and of epidemic, it turns out. Because that it's not true exposes the assumptions we are operating under, assumptions that we hold about both the source and the target. This point of tension is also the opportunity for disruptive technology and knowledge. It is when we say we can't really vaccinate our children against IPV that we can start to wonder, why not? This exploration can lead to some solutions later deemed unacceptable. In discussing my project with people, someone said that the way to get rid of the problem of intimate partner violence was to simply not consider it a problem. Well, this was a very mathematical solution to me. 1 minus 1 equals 0. The final answer is what we want, but the equation may not be acceptable. When I explored cancer, I learned that cancer cells are cells that don't die off like they should, and that some of the innovative treatment is designed to encourage those cells to commit suicide. Well, the direct translation of this treatment to humans is probably not acceptable, but opening up the opportunities allows unique solutions to come to the fore. Another discovery came in exploring architecture. Architecture is essentially the science of built space. So looking at intimate partner violence in a spatial context led to my developing a spatial theory of intimate partner violence in which you could plot any incidence of IPV on 3 axes. The significance of this sphere of intimate partner violence is that if we reduce the incidence of any end of any of the 3 continua, we reduce the sphere. This tied in very nicely with the epidemic theory of causation that I discussed in the paper. The Rothman model of causation says that if you reduce any component cause, you can reduce the overall disease numbers. We don't have to find the necessary cause of IPV and eliminate that. We can simply address some of the component causes to have a significant impact. Looking at IPV as space, or cancer, or epidemic, or virus, excuse me, I lost my place. There we go. Looking at IPV as cancer, or space, or epidemic, or virus, or perhaps harmony, or mathematics, or peace studies, leads to exposed assumptions, clear definitions, and an opportunity for innovative solutions that mining the same vein of social work, sociology, and psychology did not. But of course, intimate partner violence is only one social problem, and mine is just one brain. The real significance of this project comes when we look beyond my brain and this problem to the opportunity that metaphoric bridges provide for virtually any problem. Joseph Campbell said, if you want to change the world, change the metaphor. It is through the metaphor, global warming, that we understand the plight of our world today. And the metaphor, greenhouse gases, gives us something we can do about it. The power of metaphor not only allows us to put a crown on my dog, but creates the ability to harvest countless solutions to our societal problems. And multiple metaphor provides a kaleidoscopic understanding not possible with a single lens. Metaphor doesn't just help us think about problems differently. It exposes our thoughts to ourselves. It shows us the glasses we are not even aware we are wearing. When we look at something as something else, we come to know what we think, and we realize we can think and create something else. Thank you. Hi, Mom and Dad.